everyone, and welcome to our podcast, Almost Real, an honest talk about life between two friends. I'm Josh. This is Camila.
Hi everyone.
So, without getting too much into it, hellos are done. Let's hop in. Let's talk about topics of the day. Camila, do you want to go first with your topic of the day?
Of course, because my topic is amazing. It's about self-esteem. I've recently realized that I have a very low self-esteem, and it just doesn't let me do things. And I basically came up with the thought that if I take like tiny steps in doing things, that would just automatically help me with the self-esteem as well. Because like it blocks doing stuff, and if I do tiny steps towards the things that I want to do, self-esteem would also grow. But it's hard, and I think not a lot of people really talk about it, and not a lot of people realize that, but it is real, and it's not procrastination.
So you mean like self-esteem in regards to like doing work or like working on yourself? What can you define this a little bit more?
But anything. Basically how you feel about yourself in this world. I think it's like a number of things, a set of things, like the way you feel, how you look, how you present yourself, your work, your relationships with everyone, like your family, your friends, if you have them, like what you do in general in your life.
What are the things here that you feel like you're struggling with for self-esteem? Or is that too deeply personal at this stage? It is only episode 1.
Right into it. And I am the first one to do that, of course.
I can go. You know what? Hey, you know what? It's unfair. I threw you to the wolves. I pushed you into the lion's den. I can share. You know, this is something I also struggle with, is feeling insecure and low self-esteem and all these sort of things. And having like recently lost my job and still questioning like that whole thing. Because a part of me is wondering, was it me? I know it wasn't. There was a lot of different contributing factors, but there's a difference between like knowing something and knowing something, right? The head knows it, the heart doesn't quite yet. There's a brain heart disconnect. So yeah, and definitely like with how I appear, and I mean, I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I'm getting older, and body's changing in ways I don't want it to change. And there's something to be said about, you know, I think we spend so much time comparing ourselves to others and going, this person has this. This person, you know, looks like this. They have this life, this perfect life. I mean, social media, all that is showing everyone how great and amazing your life is, whereas what we experience is not always positive, and what those people on social media are also not experiencing all positivity all the time. Everyone gets diarrhea is a good expression.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's had diarrhea. Everyone's had, rolled on the floor in incredible amounts of pain because they've eaten some bad food, some bad shrimp.
I mean, the whole new world opens up when you have a baby and they bring a stomach bug into the house. Yeah, you kind of have to deal with your baby struggling with it. You need to help and reassure them that everything's fine, while you at the same time feel like shit as well.
See, that's a level I haven't had to put up with. I become the biggest baby. Though, I do want to finish my point. My point being that comparing yourself to others, and it's something I do quite often, really is, I mean, it's that saying, right? Comparison is the thief of happiness. By trying to live to the expectations that we put on other people and the perceived happiness and the perceived, you know, success that they have, it's just what we are seeing. It is one facet. It is one side of the coin, and there's many sides to a coin. There's two sides to a coin. So anyway, yes, I also struggle with insecurities, and I have to be reminding myself that, everyone is insecure about something. Everyone has, maybe low self-esteem about certain parts or things in their life or about themselves. Everyone is on a journey of discovery all the time. And that helps me in my head, in my heart, not. But I'm working on it, right?
It's a hard thing. I've recently looked. I was scrolling through Instagram and I saw, or LinkedIn, well, any social media basically. I think LinkedIn it was. Yeah,
LinkedIn? You're scrolling through LinkedIn?
yeah. I do scroll through. I do. I do. Yeah.
Wow.
Sometimes I catch myself doing it and I'm like, what? Why am I doing this? Like, why? Anyway, I do this. I was doing this business development for one of the companies here, and I was also doing a lot of sales things. And I was subscribed to a lot of like sales gurus, and they mainly post on LinkedIn. And the whole, I actually hate it, and I have unsubscribed from all of them. But anyway, that's where I got all the information. But that was not the point. The point was that I saw all my classmates, they're all really successful. At least you kind of can see like clear career paths in their profiles. And you can't see one in mine.
Yeah, because someone's not going to lie about their career trajectory on a social media site designed for careers. I mean, you look at my career path on LinkedIn and you're like, wow, it's amazing. Anyway, I digress.
No, that's fine. And yeah, I felt like shit. I was like, oh no, they're all super successful. I also struggled a lot and still struggle actually. I've set some aims, some goals for myself when I was, I don't know, 15, 16. And I kind of decided that as my parents, they always ran business themselves. And as you do business, you always look for investors or just for people who can help you grow. And I was like, okay, the moment I reach like 20, my 20s, like 23 tops, I have to be the sponsor of my parents' business. I should buy them a car and I should buy them a house. Well, saying that I can't do that even now is to say nothing.
There is something to like comparing yourself to the previous generation or generations. There were a lot of different circumstances that allowed the previous generations to be more successful than we are now.
Although I should say that we do have more opportunities, and there are some things that are easier to achieve nowadays, basically with internet and social media. And you can reach out to people who you could never reach out to if you didn't have that. And like, I don't know, maybe we're not really using it enough.
I'm going to challenge you on that. I'm going to challenge you on that because while I will agree that we are much more interconnected now because of the internet, because of all the opportunities, and there's some very clever people out there who have used this to start careers and jobs, and it's very admirable. And again, we want to compare ourselves to them and be like, oh, they're our age and they started Facebook, or they've done this, and this. Why can't I do that? And I think there's a lot of loss of happiness in chasing after the dreams that others have already accomplished.
But you said a very like interesting thought that people are chasing dreams. Well, first of all, of others, and sometimes that have already been achieved. So like, it's like inventing a bicycle again. Yeah. Why would you?
Well, I mean, you can invent a better bicycle. I'm not saying don't innovate and create, but to just simply want to be like, I want to do this thing because it has been profitable to this one person without changing how you're going to do it or adding your own unique spin to it. And where I'm going with this is, if you're not innovating, if you're not creating, if you're not changing or making something unique to you, I don't think there's going to be a lot of perceived value. You might be able to ride coattails, right? You might be successful riding coattails as well, but it's going to be harder, I think. Also, just to kind of add to that, how often do you feel like because that person is being successful and they're winning at something, I must be losing?
I thought about this as well, and I actually, it's very weird because I also get very frustrating feelings because I'm very happy for them. I really like that people are successful. It's great. That means that they achieved something they wanted, or at least they kind of have some stability that they wanted. And most of them are in lovely different countries. And one of them actually started a business, which is amazing. And yeah, and at the same time, I feel very sad for myself that I'm not as successful. So I'm like, but am I losing something? I don't know. Not really.
I find it difficult sometimes to be supportive and happy for people in their success.
Really? Why?
It is something that I struggle with. I do my best to be supportive and to be like, this is amazing, this is so great for you. But there is a part of me, it's not a part I'm proud of, it's not a part that I think is good. There is a part of me though that does feel like maybe a bit of jealousy or maybe a bit of like envy. I would like to also have what you have. I'd also like to be doing this cool thing. Sometimes, yeah, I do have that envy, but it is a struggle within myself to course correct, because I don't want to be that person who looks at other people and sees their successes and goes, well, why not me? Why didn't it's important to think about the things that you have been successful with. Like, what are your successes? What are your wins? Camilla, go. 5 things that you've succeeded in your life right now, putting you on the spot.
Oh, that's hard. I have great friends.
1,
I have great family.
2.
I already have a baby. That's kind of cool.
Is that still 2, or is that
It's two. Well, I mean,
having a baby? I think is 3.
although yeah, that's true. She's a whole new world. Yeah. I moved a lot, so I lived in different places, different cities. I think that's cool.
4.
And 5, I feel like if I'm around people, people feel good. So I usually help people feel better. I'm a very empathetic person. And like if I see someone struggling with something, I feel like I can help them just feel a little bit better. Maybe like not until the rest of their lives, but at least for like a tiny bit. And now you.
My turn. 5 things I've accomplished. My 5 successes. I lived in a foreign country for like 8 years, and I survived there without speaking the language. In said foreign country, I helped start an improv group. I designed curriculum and lessons. We started teaching. I traveled to different improv festivals. I've performed in many different cities in Europe, in Russia, in Canada. I've had the opportunity to do voiceover work. I've been in films. I've been in a film with Pauly Shore and Haley Duff and John Heater. Is it a good film? No, but I can say that. Did I ever meet these people? No. But still, yeah. So I've done some video games and other voice work. So that's very exciting. I don't know. Is that 4 now or something? The 5th one will be I've built a computer. I've built several computers now, and I enjoy building and putting together computers. And nothing I've succeeded on, being successful in the things I've done, like going through voiceover, performing, all this stuff, was years and years and years of work.
No, I mean to be fair, yeah, I also had this kind of idea and dream of becoming a political scientist in Russia and just changing the country for the better, which I did not accomplish, sadly. But anyway, um, I mean, it was very cool that I kind of wanted it. I studied it, and then I worked on electoral campaigns in a very hard political situation for independent candidates. It's like anytime you tell this to other people connected to politics in other countries, they're like, whoa, that's wild. Because in any European country, you don't have this sort of, you can't get this sort of experience because it's a bit wild, but it's cool. So I'm kind of happy I did that while I was very young as well, because it's very hard to do that kind of project work when you have a family. Like, I don't really understand how people who had normal families and still participated in that. You just need to abandon your family for this period of life.
Yeah, it can also be very dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be very, very dangerous work.
Yeah.
We've both done some cool things. You've done some really cool stuff. I've done some really cool stuff. And it's important to keep that perspective, right? Yeah, you worked in politics in Russia for the opposition party.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, right?
I did, yeah. It's wild. It's wild, yeah. There is no opposition party, just opposition candidates.
Well, you know what I mean. There is an opposition party, but it's controlled by the main party. Yeah. But yeah, you worked for
that's
the
why
that's because you worked on Navalny's team, right? You were on Team Navalny.
I did. His team was it was my first real experience. Yeah, it was the first campaign, 2013. He was trying to become a mayor of Moscow. Actually, we did have a chance. But yeah, I mean, back in these days, it was 10 years ago. Can you imagine that? 10 years ago. It was still possible. It was still possible, yeah. I think now it would have been harder. Because, I mean, I remember one of these experiences because I was doing research on electoral campaign, but sometimes I also worked just as just a promoter person who basically is trying to tell people about Navalny, basically. And sometimes we went to the tube, to like underground, and we would just spread some information there. And I remember this feeling because Russia is a very special country and people do not really smile that much there. But when you kind of go through the carriage and you kind of and you turn around and you see people smiling. And I'm like, whoa, that's cool.
That's a big thing. That's a big accomplishment, right? That's a big success. And that might not exist on your LinkedIn profile or your Instagram page. And this is still something that, you did and something to be proud of, an accomplishment.
I'm actually pretty proud. Well, I mean, you should be proud of your films.
I've watched them.
Well, I mean, Navalny also didn't win, so come on.
I remember when we were doing the filming, we did like an initial run and filmed like the scenes that they had ready for this animated cartoon thing. And it was like a year later, came back and filmed the rest. And I had completely forgotten the voice I used for the main character I was playing. So there's very clearly a part in the film where you're like, oh, his voice is different. But yeah, so the main character I played, the bunny, had a weird voice stuff. But I also played like almost every other male character in that film. So, and that's not on my LinkedIn profile. It's not on my Instagram page.
Yeah, we probably should put this kind of things out.
Yes and no. I think there is, in a world that is so interconnected, where everything is commodified and monetized, where the act of just, existing nowadays feels like it has to exist for capitalistic reasons, right? It has to have a value that is inherently a dollar value. I think in a world like that, there is some inherent good in keeping little things to yourself that are just for you or for a smaller group of people, or things you share more intimately. That being said, this is on a platform where I am speaking to other people as well. Though, I mean, I recognize the irony and maybe the hypocrisy in that. But I do think that we shouldn't put everything out there. because it just becomes too much. You don't want to lose yourself into the machine, right?
But I think we kind of all already lost ourselves there. I don't know if it's sad or if it's good, but like, it's just a fact. It kind of is like this now.
I think it's something inherently psychological about our desire to consume as humans. There's a lot of work being put into how do we make people watch or stay on our app or buy these things and this and this and this. It's tough. It's tough out there. There's a lot of really smart people trying to trick you into using their app.
That's why I couldn't keep up with all those salespeople posting about how to sell stuff, because it's just pure manipulation. They're posting it as they have achieved some sort of like, hello, and the gods spoke to me, and now I know how you should sell. But it's just purest manipulation of other people's minds and tricking them into buying things.
And at the end of the day, isn't that exactly what social media is? Just manipulation. Why I think that, yeah, we should keep some things to ourselves. And speaking of keeping some things to ourselves, I think it's time for us to end this episode. So thank you so much, Camilla, and thank you so much for everyone listening out there. We'll be back next week with another episode of Almost Real. Thank you so much. Bye.